Hey, everybody, it's TH here from Women for Women. And as you know, I love fabulous women. I was just in an event the other day, and we were talking about how we collect great women. Like it's part of our you're like part of my arsenal. So my guest today
Oh,
is Tracy Byrnes. I've known her for many years because she came into my life through my divorce platform to really help us figure out how to do a budget in divorce. But you know what? You don't have to be divorced to have a budget. You also
okay.
don't have to be divorced to prepare properly for your taxes. And the overall message here is that we're women, and most women don't know shit about taxes, money, the market, all of it. And Tracy here is going to tell you why we do need to start paying attention. So, welcome to Women for Women today, Tracy.
I'm so excited. Thank you for having me. And I love your intro because you're right. It is incumbent upon us to learn.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think
you can't
though, right?
complain if you don't
No,
do anything about it, right?
no, but I tell people all the time, my clients in particular, that you're not supposed to know this stuff. Like I think women we give ourselves such a hard time. Like, well, I don't know it. I'm a big loser. Therefore, I'm not going to participate in the conversations. But you're not born with this information. You're not taught it in school. And unless you chose to be a finance and or accounting major, you're never going to learn. So give yourselves a break and just start to empower yourselves and learn.
And you and I spoke briefly before we started recording. I mean, I hate numbers. But I do have two businesses, and somehow I've been selected as the one who handles the QuickBooks. So sometimes you just have to learn, and you'll be surprised about how interesting it is, right? It's like getting on the scale. Nobody wants to get on the scale, but sometimes you have to look at the numbers, right? So let's talk about a few things. Right now, this we're recording in March, and our taxes are due April 15th generally if you don't have an extension.
Mhm.
So even though you can't do anything about the money you spent and earned and everything from last year, there are still things that we can do before we file our taxes, correct?
100%. Mhm.
So, what are some of the top things that we can do within a month before filing?
So it's going to sound so trite, but you got to get organized. You got to go find your stuff. All the forms have been coming in. Nowadays, a lot of them come via email. So where did you stuff all those emails? Odds are good you didn't, right? So go through your emails, create a little tax file, start putting them in, keep track, because at some point you're going to need all that stuff. And then I think once you have all that in place, you start asking yourself some questions, especially because we had this one big, beautiful bill act passed in July. Say that 10 times fast. And there's a lot of new things in it. And a lot of the things pertain to women, families. And so it's in your it's in your best knowledge to like be able to walk into your accountant's office or tax preparer's office and say, what about this? That's all you need to do, right? You don't need to answer the questions. You just need to ask them. So hopefully that's what we do today.
Okay, something else that you and I have spoken about as well is it's great to go to an accountant who has been doing this for a really long time because I just feel like there's comfort in that.
Hmm.
And there is still comfort in it as long as they stay up to date on
Right,
tax law, right?
right.
So that's why it's really important, everybody, what Tracy said, that you come in with questions to ask because your accountant may or may not know.
Yeah. And this year, especially, everything is new. So, just by way of background, right? Congress sits around and fights out and creates tax law. Mind you, half of those people never even prepared their own tax return. So they don't know what the hell they're saying. Then they hand this law to the IRS and they're like, here, implement it. And the IRS is like, you kidding, right? Half the forms may or may not be ready. So everyone has to give each other grace this year because it's going to be a mess. So for you as the taxpayer, it would be so cool for you to walk into your preparer's office and have the things that you think you qualify. But to your earlier point, TH, this is why I think everyone should take a shot at preparing their own tax return. And the reason I say that,
What?
I know, but literally it is click and play. It's like you just pour a glass of wine or whatever your drink of choice is and click through because those programs are trained or created to ask every damn question. So they will go through, are you in the service industry, TH? If so, do you receive tips? You do? Great. So we're going to go through all these questions and see if your tips qualify because contrary to the headlines, tips are not tax free. There is a deduction available to apply against your tip income, but it is not a wash across the board. 25,000 is the deduction. So if you made 60 grand in tips, you may get to wipe out 25,000 of them. You're still going to have to pay tax on that 45. Sorry, 35. Got to do the math.
Right.
So,
So this ties into Tracy's new book called
yay.
Deduct Everything. So proud of her for this. So glad she wrote it because I need cliff notes for this. Like I said before, I'm not a mathematician. I'm super overwhelmed, and everybody's scared that, well, not maybe not everybody, but I'm scared that I'm not going to do my tax returns properly. So if we go and give it a shot of doing it ourselves, where do we start? Where do we get the form? I want to lay out the basics.
So I'm going to say, in full disclosure, I get no kickbacks from any of these places, right? I am not associated whatsoever. But there's TurboTax. There's Kiplinger's does has tax cut out there. You just start from the beginning. You sit down. It's literally going to ask you your name, your social security number. I've used these products over the years, and the beauty of them is they roll your info year after year. So then it becomes easy implementing. They ask all the questions though. Did you get married this year? Did you get divorced? Are you a widow? Do you have kids? Are they in college? And it just takes you through the process. It almost becomes idiot proof, arguably. You input your stuff, it spits out your tax return. Now, the cool part about some of them is they actually can have a live person jump on in and help you review. It's just a thought. It's just a thought. I realize it's scary. Part of the reason, though, that the book is named Deduct Everything is because I want people to deduct everything they qualify for. Like you just said, everyone is scared. They think that there's some caricature of Uncle Sam that's going to come knocking on their door that, oh, you did it wrong and now you owe us money and shame on you. If you deserve it, take it. Just keep the documentation.
Okay, so that's really important. And that goes back to you saying everyone needs to get organized is really I am an old school girl. I have folders that are labeled on top. I have drawers for my tax returns. I have boxes for my tax returns. So, and honestly, when I get something that says tax form, whether I download it or I get it in the mail, it all goes into an envelope, but you have to make copies of it all because the last time I sent it to my account, it went to the wrong address. So make copies of it all before you send it and then send it. Um, Probably priority mail so you can track it. Because it
Or
doesn't mean anything
secure.
to me.
Or a secure email, and then you have the copies yourself.
I
Nowadays, people,
know. Yeah,
right?
I could do
So I
that.
mean, yeah, and then you can keep your own copies.
Right. You could
Um,
scan it.
yeah,
Okay.
but
So let's talk about some loopholes. So you talked about taxes, right? I mean, about tips. Sorry, everybody. Talking about tips being tax-free, which is not really true.
Mhm.
What's another thing that we can get a deduction on, which is better than not getting anything,
Correct.
that affects most of us, like tips would?
Overtime. So all the firefighters, police officers, EMT workers out there that do such a great job for us, they work a lot of overtime. Overtime now can be partially tax free in that there's also a deduction. It is not across the board. Overtime is, I mean, these headlines were crazy for a while. There's a deduction again. It's $12,500. So again, you have to report your overtime. Now, this one could be tricky because you may or may not have overtime reported on your W-2. So you're
Mhm.
again going to have to figure this out yourself. Find and document it. How many hours did you work? Keep track. Take a picture of the piece of paper if someday the IRS does question it. But do it legitimately and get the deduction. Another big one this year is auto loans. If you buy a brand new car, you take a loan out, maybe up to $10,000 could be deductible on that new loan. So
Wow.
like that's really cool too. So all these things can help families. And for us in the, the tri-state, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, California, having that state and local tax deduction back is huge, up to $40,000. Our state taxes are ridiculous because
So
they
tell
don't
me
know how
more
to.
about that, local and state.
40,000, your local state taxes. I mean, look, those of us that live in these high states, we pay a lot in
Yes.
taxes.
Yes.
So you may qualify for up to 40,000. Now, again, a lot of these things have income limitations. So if you make too much money, odds are good you phase out. But
Mhm.
all that kind of stuff, these are the questions actually that you should be talking to your accountant about. If you teeter, let's just for argument's sake say a phase out on one of these deductions is 300 grand. And this year you made 320, but or sorry, 290, but next year you might be at 320. See if you could take as much as you can this year. Pull stuff forward if you can. Talk to your people about this. Like you have to plan too. A tax return is sadly is looks behind, but use it to look forward because you can plan for the rest of the year based on what your return is here April 15th.
Okay, so I already wrote that down as some
Okay.
questions that I'm going to ask my accountant.
Okay, good.
Okay,
Good.
so is this book like for me, who's not like a numbers tax expert, is this like the Cliff Notes on
So I've
how to deduct everything, or is this for the professionals?
No, no, no. This is absolutely for us. As a matter of fact, there's movie references in it because I tried very hard to have fun with it because it is not a fun topic. So I may have referenced Ferris Bueller and Grumpy Old Men at one point, like all of my favorite movies. Um, The Holiday, one of my favorite movies. And the cool part about it, I think, is if you just go through the table of contents, pick the chapters that pertain to you. There's a chapter on the whole, quote unquote gig economy. Do you have a side hustle? Are
Yeah.
you getting all the deductions you qualify for as part of your side hustle? There's a whole section on people that Airbnb now, because people do this, right? They buy
Yeah.
a condo, put it through Airbnb. What can you qualify for? Is it a small business? Is it rental income? We go through all that in there. And so I think that stuff is fun. Um, there's also a whole chapter on what you cannot deduct. Things like, you'll appreciate this. I networked at my wedding, so it's a networking event. Not
How
so
about,
much.
I go to events all the time and I produce my own. So I said, listen, I need a new outfit for every single one of those events. Isn't that a business expense?
If you don't wear it ever again,
Well, I can't wear it anywhere where you're going to see pictures of it. So, anyway, those were some of my questions, but also this goes to show that there are no dumb questions. And if
then
your tax professional makes you feel like they're dumb questions, then you should probably go to somebody else. I also
yes,
want us to touch a little bit on divorce and separation here because
yes.
when you're married, you're usually sharing the same account, right? You're filing jointly. And then when you're not filing jointly, do you go find a new accountant? Do you feel that accountant has allegiance to you or to your ex? Even if it's an amicable situation, what is your personal opinion also coming from the land of divorce?
So this is like an interesting question, and you and I both have lived through this. I cut ties. I decided to cut ties, that it was time. I didn't want anybody knowing anything. There's always the, well, don't say anything, but this is
Right.
what she's doing kind of thing. I want it out.
Yeah.
I do understand that sometimes the first year in particular, it's just easier to stay with your person, especially if you're filing single. You're filing however you are on December 31st is your filing status for the whole year, right? So even if you divorced on December 30th, you are still divorced for the year. So again, I think that's a personal question. Like I said, I think it's really nice to start new. Pick your own people, empower yourself to find the right people, find your board, so to speak, and
Yeah.
take it at that, and that way you can move forward.
I actually ended up hiring my forensic attorney because my divorce took 4 years and it was so complicated. And he was filing in all these states in
Oh
addition
my
to our
God.
state. And I was like, I don't even know what to do with this.
Hmm.
So I carried him as long as I could. And then he was eaten up by one of the big accounting firms. And I'm like, I can't pay that much money. I don't even pay those states anymore. I think I was on
Right.
unemployment at the time. I'm like, I literally could do my own taxes right now. But there was a big trust factor, and the fact that he knew and was a part of my whole divorce negotiation was really important to me.
Yeah,
And he was way more expensive as a forensic than a regular accountant. So also ask any professional that's a part of your divorce proceeding if they recommend somebody, if you don't want to hire that exact person. Um, but he's been like a great advocate and also keeping me on track. Like, remember, TH, this part of your divorce agreement and that part of your divorce agreement. So those are all
that's
really,
amazing.
really important things. But okay, so I want to wrap this up with Tracy. What kind of support can you give us above and beyond this beautiful book? That the yellow and red is so great because it makes you like stop, and it's also yellow like hello, don't forget I'm here, come and check me out, I'm bright yellow, I sit on the shelf, I stand out from everything else around you. But there are over 250 tax saving secrets inside, and Tracy does make the topics like the chapters fun, like from cribs to canes, the shelter strategy, I love that, the triple threat, and talks about retirement. Wait, you tried to deduct what? I love that. Can I write off my house because I host friends who talk about business? Somebody
I
must
love
have
it.
asked you that question.
Yeah, well,
My
all of them.
vote
Or
is
here,
for client entertainment.
can I deduct my divorce attorney because it is part of my future financial planning? No, sorry,
I
but
do
that
believe that my gym membership should be a health deduction, by the
I
way,
know. I know. And
because
the
that's what keeps
pool.
me away from the doctor. So how can people get in touch with you, and how do you work with people one on one if they want to go beyond the book?
So I love that question because I think, okay, so first of all, I'm at Tracy Byrnes on LinkedIn and the website is tracyburnswealth.com. So just reach out anytime. The second thing I would say is I love doing financial plans for people. I think that, like I said, your tax return is the perfect start to your financial plan. You really could see kind of your whole financial life, or at least a microcosm of it in one place, and then you extrapolate that out into a plan. And when you have a plan, you just feel more confident. One of the things you said earlier is that we have to start empowering ourselves. The transfer of wealth, I use this line all the time. The transfer of wealth from men to women over the next 10 years is anywhere from 30 to 50 trillion dollars. Trillion dollars. That's death, divorce mostly, right? And the horizontal transfer of wealth, which is just divorce, is upwards of $10 trillion. That is, I'm 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 generalizing, husband to wife. If we don't learn to ask the right questions, shame on us, because that money will go back to, dare I say, the old white man who
Hmm.
will do what he wants.
Hmm.
We don't need to know where Microsoft closed today. No one cares. You don't even need to pull out a calculator to be financially savvy. You just need to know what questions to ask and to stay on top of it. So make sure you know all your usernames and passwords. I always say that. And just make sure you ask questions. Like you said, there are no stupid questions because you're not supposed to know this stuff. Who the hell knows taxes?
Right.
Like, who wants to, quite frankly?
Well, I'm glad that you like to and that you do because you have taught me so much. And I do still think that I need a session with you to kick off a financial plan because I never really, like, what's a financial plan? I make this year, next year I make something different. Like, how do I even make a set financial plan, right? I have money invested in stock, I have money in real estate, but my day to day is trying to make enough money for my business to pay my bills. And when you and I were speaking a few weeks ago, you said, well, how much did you set aside to pay your taxes? And I said, nothing. I just know that I'm going to have to pull it from my investment accounts because I'm never going to make enough to put aside for taxes and to pay all of my bills. So I know I have plenty there. It just kind of sucks that you
Yeah.
make great money in the market and then 40% or whatever, a high percent based on your income goes to pay taxes on the income of that. And then like I have nothing to show for it because then I have to pay everything else. So I'm earning money to pay my bills, but I'm not earning money to like have more money.
But if you think about it, if you're earning money in the market and you're pulling out less than what you've earned, you're still ahead of the game.
I know, I am, and it's a good problem.
It is. It
But
is.
it's like,
I
God, like
know.
I thought I'd have more money this year. Like you made all this money, but
I know.
you got
I
to pay the
know. And
bill.
it's hard. And you got to, yeah. And then you throw in planning for retirement and throw in healthcare, which is insane these days. And so throw in all these things and it feels like there's nothing left at the end of the day.
But there is, and there is a way to not be hurt as badly when you get Deduct Everything, written by Tracy Byrnes, or you connect with
.com.
TracyByrnesWealth.com. And
Hmm.
Tracy Byrnes is TracyByrnes, Wealth, Wealth. I had to think about that for a minute. .com. All of her information will be in the description and show notes and everything else. And Tracy's really freaking awesome because she'll just tell you the way it is. It's straightforward. There's no judgment, safe space. Uh,
Yeah.
and she gets so much of it in air quotes that you're in good company when it comes to money and figuring out what to do. And she really is a good time too.
Uh, back at you. All of that.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing with us today. Congratulations on the book
Thank
and
you.
more to come, everybody. See you soon.